more just for you.
Plenty.
I want to tell you about how we've reorganized. Please confirm that you want your name to appear as your name here in this special place. Me and my team offer free consultations where we can talk you through the reasons for your enduring appeal, which to me is plain to hear from your rhetorical background and your ethics of persuasion. With a voice like yours, you could sing from the telephone directory and sound meaningful, but I know that's not good enough for you who've made it your mission to expose listeners to music that touches the soul. Many disdain and are even hostile to such professional manipulations of public opinion. Does a magic trigger exist that is capable of shooting the species to another level of understanding? Your response to this energy vector will take you many leagues in the direction of self-fulfillment. Please refrain from dismissing the life force contained here in these words, just as another star on the horizon, as hypnosis has been dismissed so many times across so many sectors of society. This is just for you, so please continue to visit us here each week. Seasoned devotees will find there's a lot to admire about the comprehensive package offered here, just for you. I've recently developed a formal converter for time. Here's a time converter just for you. You're a little running fox. Time has been converted into you time. Time just for you. A colleague sent me an email today with the subject line, just for you. I have to admit, I didn't expect it to be a press release about the Scientist Corp. I would offer my colleague and yourself as well a little advice in creating your own cult of personality. Be sure to encourage myths and legends about yourself that are powerful enough to sustain an intimate 5-room enclave of exceptional atmosphere and charm. To introduce you to the concept of consumer behavior, let us first understand that the persuasive language of advertising aims at informing and persuading the customer to buy security, affection, a sense of self-worth, and a personality for novelty seekers and introverts as well as extroverts. What makes this cool is that it's just as much about the ad as it is about you. Man, oh man, do I love donuts. Even just a traditional one, oh boy, are they good. Here's one just for you. Oh. I should say here that these words are not just for you or your community, but for all of us. Recently, I began to think that all of the services rendered here in advice and consultation could easily be cut down some. You should mentally cut as much as you like, or as you were reading or listening to this speech. And if you'd really like this to read just for you, right in this moment, cut about enough to yield only 3 paragraphs. Then leave the remainder of the text afloat in the back of your mind, like putting leftovers in the fridge in a sealed container as a happy surprise for later in the week. And while themes of masculinity and femininity have been touched on throughout this series, dichotomous distinctions can often be misleading. In many cases, the world is not just black and white. You don't just march and wave placards with pithy slogans on them. You should also work to urge yourself and the new left to take action in your own community. A simple history of capitalizing on the excesses of a city like Los Angeles will bring to light a number of organizations that have run dynamic and critically helpful community centers. Please know that just for you, I have worked to create a place where you can enjoy something better than average, casual, periodic dining. Call on me when you're figuring out how to connect the different patterns in your life, and you can bet I will do my best to shed some light on the situation just for you. Your life has never been a series of gyms, bikes, and coffees or cappuccinos. You are the #1 ranking activist circulating throughout your own life, just for you. If you stop thinking, your thoughts will come back to you when they're supposed to, times 10. Love is the only fire hot enough to melt the iron obstinacy.
We know comfort with company. And they found wonderful, just love.
Just for You seeks to remind us of all the things we've experienced in our hearts over the years, but just couldn't find the words to say. Now try to listen to your own heart without shedding a tear. This series of essay-like journalistic pieces have been written just for you, and plus I've added a bit of background flirtation, etc., and I'll get to the subject of mixed emotions this week. Just for you. In 1988, I was not the kind of person to sit and dream I knew the facts of life. I'm still not that kind of person, and neither are you. We both are now the kind of people, I'm sure, to sit and dream, even to sit and dream about the facts of life, to sit and dream about facts and fancy, to sit and dream about
ecstatic
life.
compliment, yet so worthwhile.
Relaxing piano, relaxing songs, nice, easy listening. Girl, you'll be a woman soon. On the long way home, drink some red, red wine. You'll forget the boat that I rowed, cherry, cherry. I'm a believer, Shiloh. You got to me, a solitary man. Thank the Lord for the nighttime. Being a teacher, you would naturally prefer to be at school in a teacher's natural habitat, similar to yourself. And having been a teacher for so long, Professor Spicer is still giving the same lecture he always has. The class was shocked at the professor's use of sarcasm. Her conversation was sprinkled with a salt of cleverness as she explained that the word echelon has descended a ladder, coming to English through several languages, starting with the Latin word scale, which indeed means ladder, and which explains why we still scale
like thought
a ladder.
And marriage resembles her, his life and lover.
The French expression esprit de corps literally means spirit of feeling as one body. It implies not only a camaraderie, but a sense of pride or honor shared by those involved in an undertaking, a sense of union and of common interests and responsibilities. Our two characters, you and I, appear grotesque with our language and our opinions, complete in our inadequacy and inadequateness. This is the teaching of a foreign language, and this special place here, just for you, acts as our liaison, like the contact person maintained between military or naval units in order to coordinate their action.
Oh, wait, let me, I think this is right. I'm happy to join with you today in what will go down in history as the greatest demonstration for freedom in the history of our nation. We observe today not a victory for party, but a celebration of freedom symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change. This is preeminently the time to speak the truth, the whole truth, frankly and boldly. And while this reply stated that it seemed useless to continue existing diplomatic negotiations, it contained no threat or hint of war or of armed attack. What is different? What is special? That's why I'm here tonight. I want to tell you my side of the case. I believe in actions on all fronts by whatever means necessary. We've never had tragedy like this. Today I may be the victim, but tomorrow it will be you, until the whole fabric of our harmonious society is ripped apart at a time of great national peril. But there is cause for hope and for faith in our democracy and what is happening here tonight. Please, allow me to skip the stories and the poetry and the temptation to deal in nice but vague rhetoric. Leadership must heed the call of conscience, redemption, expansion, healing, and unity, for they are the key to achieving our mission. I'm not going to sit here and be an idle spectator to the diminution, the subversion, the destruction of the Constitution. I stand on this rostrum with a sense of deep humility and great pride. Humility in the wake of those great American architects of our history who have stood here before me. Pride in the reflection that this forum of legislative debate represents human liberty in the purest form yet devised. I would go on even to the great heyday of the Roman Empire, but the man who never does anything else, who never thinks or speaks or writes, save of his feet with the muck rake, speedily becomes not a help, but one of those most potent forces for evil. We have to make an effort to understand, to get beyond or go beyond these rather difficult times. Strive for less would be unworthy of a free and religious people. By painful stage after stage that law has been built up, the meager enough results. Indeed, after all was accomplished that could be accomplished, but always with a clear view, at least, of what the heart and conscience of mankind demanded. Unhappily, I possess neither that eloquence of diction, that poetry of imagination, or that brilliance of metaphor to tell you all that they mean. From a political standpoint, this would have been a popular and easy course to follow. You live in a defended island of freedom, but your life is part of the main, even down to the prattling babe. I really feel devoutly thankful that there are 1,674 young men who have been carried through college by this lecture, who are also glad that I did listen. And they know when a government sets out to do that, it must use force and coercion to achieve its purpose. If you reduce a man to the point where he is starving to death and bleeding and dying, how do you expect that man to get a hold of any money to spend with you? It is not possible. And God said in the beginning, it is not good for man to stand alone. Let us no longer blind ourselves to the undeniable fact that the evil forces which have crushed and undermined and corrupted so many others are already within our gates. Are we to believe that something so sacred can be looked upon as a purely physical thing with no potential for emotional and psychological harm? So with all the creative energy at our command, let us begin an era of national renewal. You people must have faith. You must not be stampeded by rumors or guesses. Great responsibilities have been placed upon us by the swift movement of events. Our tragedy today is a general and universal physical fear so long sustained by now that we can even bear it. I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. The people are awakening. Let's not forget that among those rights are the right to speak freely and the right to be heard. I know that in a world divided as ours today, salvation cannot be attained by one dramatic act. We all breathe the same air. No wonder we feel isolated and confused. I pledge to you tonight that as long as I have breath of life in my body, I shall continue in that spirit. We do not wish to injure her or to block in any way her legitimate influence or power. I speak as briefly as possible because too much harm has already been done with irresponsible words of bitterness and selfish political opportunism. We must be wary of those who with sounding brass and a tinkling cymbal preach the ism of appeasement. Now there is little left to build on save bitterness. Unless I'm willing to engage in a few menial occupations in which we pay for my services would be very poor, there is no way for me to earn an honest living. But duty is not an argument, it is a conclusion. The more people of this kind we have, the less immortality shall exist. At the end of your life, you will never regret having not passed one more test, winning one more verdict, not closing one more deal. A great change is at hand, and our task, our obligation, is to make that revolution, that change, peaceful and constructive for all. God willing, that goal will be achieved. Now, I want to make myself perfectly clear. Your love has protected us and made us strong. We must be consistent if we are to be believed. But that is just the beginning. It is virtually impossible at this distance, merely by reading or listening or even seeing photographs or motion pictures, to grasp at the real significance of the situation. But we should not be forced to discuss phantom issues or false charges. We'll hear all those things and many more besides, but we will hear nothing that we have not heard before. We believe in the freedom of people to make their own mistakes. Those are the beliefs I learned from my parents. It is the suppressed emotion of the masses that breeds revolution. There must be a changing that will allow us to turn our hope into action. We will pray forever that someday that changing will come. I can offer you no final truths, complete and unchallengeable. All kinds of scrambled thoughts, all of them confused, all of them irrational, many of them which I cannot recall, and some which I would not have seriously entertained under normal circumstances, went through my mind during this period. The objectives of this movement are not political in a partisan sense. Our people have followed false prophets. I know I can live where I want to live. I realize that there are here today friends and colleagues of mine, many of them who feel just as deeply and keenly as I do about this issue, and who are yet in complete disagreement with me. The moment the anglers pulled their heavy laden net ashore, it broke, and all the labor was so much wasted energy. To them, the movement has been a steady, normal growth from the beginning, and must so continue until the end. I admire your courage, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't make life any easier for you. Love is not an easy feeling to put into words, nor is loyalty or trust or joy. It's only after a great dealing of agonizing consideration and a great number of sleepless nights, that I am able to talk of these unpleasant matters to anyone but my close friends. The assembly is the talking body. The assembly was created in order that anybody that purposed anything wrong should be subjected to the awkward circumstance that everybody could talk about it. Sure, I'm lucky. It is not our power, but our will and character that is being tested tonight. Some of you have been too indifferent to give more than casual attention to this question. Well, things worked out a little different than the way I thought, but let me tell you, I still love New York. Our purpose in this action is to bring about a reduction in the level of violence that now exists. I want to speak not of parties, but of universal principles, some old things with which we had grown familiar and which had begun to creep into the very habit of our thought and our lives, have altered their aspect as we have latterly looked critically upon them with fresh, awakened eyes, have dropped their disguises and shown themselves alien and sinister. I didn't want to spend too much time on that because I don't think it's important enough. Sometimes in life there is a moment when it's possible to make a change for the better. This is one of those moments. It's so easy to make the people applaud an empty platitude. Before you can cultivate a garden, you must know something about gardening. Maybe we've had enough words of power and talk about the battle of life. Maybe we need some words of weakness. Freedom is a large word.
Marcellus is a tribune in the time of Christ. He is in charge of the group that is assigned to crucify Jesus. Drunk, he wins Jesus' homespun robe after the crucifixion. He is tormented by nightmares and delusions after the event. Hoping to find a way to live with what he has done and still not believing in Jesus, he returns to Palestine to try and learn what he can of the man he killed. A pulsing kaleidoscope of images set to an energetic soundtrack. A young woman swings in a garden. A woman's face smiles. The rest is spinning cylinders, pistons, gears, and turbines, kitchen objects, and concentric circles of rows, pots, pan lids, and funnels, cars passing overhead, a spinning carnival ride. Over and over, a heavy-set woman climbs stairs, carrying a large bag on her shoulder. Vampire Count Orlok expresses interest in a new residence and real estate agent Hutter's wife, silent classic based on the story Dracula. Wisburg, Germany-based estate agent Nock dispatches his associate Hutter to Count Orlok's castle in Transylvania as the Count. Dove is using the apparently drama-rich life of Alicia Keys to appeal to women in their 20s. Dove Go Fresh and MTV gave you fresh takes. With money to burn from Haynes, a scruffy guy called Dave, who's clearly approaching midlife with misgivings, is challenging celebrities to use hypnotism and focus groups for client Volvo. A silent movie star meets a young dancer, but the arrival of talking pictures sends their careers in opposite directions. Outside a movie premiere, enthusiastic fan Peppy Miller literally bumps into the swashbuckling hero of the silent film, George Valentine. The star reacts graciously, and Peppy plants a kiss on his cheek as they are surrounded by photographers. The headlines demand, "Who's that girl?" Rabindranath Tagore was a Bengali polymath who reshaped his region's literature and music. Author of Gitanjali and its profoundly sensitive, fresh and beautiful verse, he became the first non-European to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. In translation, his poetry was viewed as spiritual and mercurial. In Nazi-occupied France, during World War II, a plan to assassinate Nazi leaders by a group of Jewish U.S. soldiers coincides with a theater owner's vengeful plans for the same. In Nazi-occupied France, young Jewish refugee Shoshana Dreyfus witnesses the slaughter of her family by Colonel Hans Landa, narrowly escaping with her life. A small-town doctor learns that the population of his community is being replaced by emotionless alien duplicates. Dr. Miles Binnell returns to his small-town practice to find several of his patients suffering the paranoid delusion that their friends or relatives are imposters. He is initially skeptical, especially when the alleged doppelgangers, powerful but unethical Broadway columnist J.J. Hunsaker coerces unscrupulous press agent Sidney Falco into breaking up his sister's romance with a jazz musician. J.J. Hunsaker, the most powerful newspaper columnist in New York, is determined to prevent this sister from marrying Steve Dallas, a jazz musician. He therefore, Vladimir Vladimirovich Nabokov, was a Russian-American novelist. Nabokov's first 9 novels were in Russian. He then rose to international prominence as a writer of English prose. He also made serious contributions as a lepidopterist and chess composer. Nabokov's Lolita. A young woman steals $40,000 from her employer's client and subsequently encounters a young motel proprietor too long under the domination of his mother. Phoenix office worker Marion Crane is fed up with the way life has treated her. She has to meet her lover Sam in lunch breaks, and they cannot get married because Sam has to give most of his money away in alimony. A trio of atmospheric horror tales about a woman terrorized in her apartment by phone calls from an escaped prisoner from her past, a Russian count in the early 1800s who stumbles upon a family in the countryside trying to destroy a particularly vicious line of vampires, and a 1900-era nurse who makes a fateful decision while preparing the corpse. A man who has set up the perfect lifestyle for himself makes the mistake of marrying while drunk, and his fantasies of murder are used against him. Stanley Ford, an idyllic bachelor life. He is a nationally syndicated cartoonist whose Bash Brannigan got that one wrong. This is the wrong slide, so we'll just skip ahead. Sorry about that. This sprawling, surrealist musical serves as an allegory for the pitfalls of capitalism as it follows the adventures of a young coffee salesman in Europe. Many actors play multiple roles, giving the film a stagey tone. The film opens with a short fragment outside the plot, but clearly related on repeated viewings. Grainy. Oops. There we go. 007 is sent to stop a diabolically brilliant heroin magnate, armed with a complex organization and a reliable psychic tarot card reader. Several British agents have been murdered, and James Bond is sent to New Orleans to investigate these mysterious deaths. This sprawling, surrealist musical serves as an allegory for the pitfalls of capitalism as it follows the adventures of a young coffee salesman in Europe. Many actors play multiple roles, giving the film a stagey tone. The film opens with a short fragment outside the plot, but clearly related on repeated viewings. Grainy, black and white, and silent short, a title, Once Upon a Time, leads to Latino laborers. A man is interviewed by a sympathetic woman. His tale unfolds of hard work that never pleases his parents, of a father who denigrates his efforts, of an indifferent mother. He builds them a house. Instead of offering their flat to him and his bride, they give the flat up, so he goes to Munich to work in construction, bringing his wife, who is soon pregnant. They buy things on credit. He works overtime. A young, abused, and timid 17-year-old girl discovers she has telekinesis and gets pushed to the limit on the night of her school's prom by a humiliating prank. Carrie White is a shy young girl who doesn't make friends easily. After her classmates taunt her about her horrified reaction to her totally unexpected first period, a young boy and his friends face off against a mysterious grave robber known only as the Tall Man, who keeps a mysterious arsenal of terrible weapons with him. Mike, a teenage boy who has just lost his parents, is afraid to lose his brother. The fear causes him to follow his brother to a funeral where Mike witnesses the Tall Man lift a coffin on his own.
Then Brandon
was not the kind of guy to sit and drink.
The buddy
I knew the facts of life, just hated philosophy.
Of
And reckoned reality was the game for me. Now you've turned my head around into the light, my feet have left the ground.
Depressed mission.
Here is how, here is it, here and now. Gonna show you all my love.
That the
and it's just for you. I'll try to fish up the ocean. Just for you. I'll try to color the stars. And it's just for you. I'll try to water the desert. Just to make our flowers grow. And it's just for you. I'm slowing down the rotation. Just for you. I'll stop the earth and I'll try. Because of you, and we are so in love. I think how it used to be, and how it seemed I was so big and free. How did I not realize all the things I despised were so good for me? Now I can just fly away into your arms and know I'm gonna stay. Here is how, here and now, gonna show you all my love. And it's just for you, I'll try to fish up the ocean. Just for you, I'll try to color the stars. And it's just for you, I'll try to water the desert. Just to make our flowers grow. And it's just for you, I'm slowing down the rotation. Just for you, I'll stop the earth and I'll try. You can be the life of the party, or you can be the belle of the ball. You can break my heart if you want to, and you can make me wait for your call. I can only give you my promise that I will always stay by your side. You can make my heart spin in circles and I'll go along for the ride. Just for you, just for you. Yeah. Just for you. There are so many things I would do. Just for you. Woo. Just for you. You can be the Tiffany Diamond, or you can be the real Coupe de Ville. You can tear my life into pieces, or you can make my world stand still. I can only say that I love you, so take me for just what I am. You can see the stars on my future, and I'll go along with the plan. You can be the sun in the morning, you to shine your light through all of the day. You can lose my love in the darkness, and you can only show me the way. I can only give you my promise that I will stay always by your side. You can make my heart spin in circles, and I'll go along for the ride. Just for you, just for you, just for you, my love. Whoa for you, just for you, my love. Whoa, yes, my dear, I finally realize that it's just for you. When you see me working all night long, working till my stress was gone, it's oh for you, oh listen dear, I finally realize it's all for you. Yeah, when you see me working all the day, working all my stress away, it's for you, oh yes it is, I finally realize it's all for you. Just for you, whoa, could it be for you? Just for you, whoa, just for you. Now, yes, my dear, I finally realize that it's just for you. When you see me working all day, working all my stress away, it's for you, oh yes it is, I finally realize it's all for you. Yeah, when you see me spending all my money just to give you a good time, honey, it's for you, oh, I finally realize it's for you. It's for you, for nobody else but my love. It's for you, sweetheart. I know it's for you. Whoa, it's for you, love. Yes, my dear. I finally realize that it's just for you, just for you, just for you. It's just for you, just for you, just for you, just for you. It's just for you.
These nuts, dim sum.
Golden days, night was play, pain was all the world away. We went to school, we learned the rules, we trusted all they had to say. Then life took a turn, we all had to learn, and we can't go back again. And my heart is breaking just for you, and my arms are open. Just for you, just for you, just for you. God was God and dreams were dreams. Life is all cake and ice cream. Truth was true and lies were lies, and we thought love would never die. But the world moved on, my illusion's gone, and I don't know who to blame. And my heart is breaking just for you, and my arms are open just for you, just for you. And these tears I'm crying are for you, just for you, just for you. I'm looking for protection, give me shelter from the storm. I just hope this light inside me keeps me strong. And my heart is breaking just for you, and my arms they're open just for you, just for you. And these tears I'm crying are for you, just for you, just for you, just for you. Oh, my heart is breaking and my arms are open. Oh, these tears I'm crying are just for you. Oh, yeah. I will climb the highest mountain just for you. Bring gold and silver to your door just for you. I will raise my glass up to the sky just for you. I will be your strength and be your pride. Be with you. I'll make sweet soul music all night long just for you. Make you feel that you belong just for you. We'll take a ride in the tunnel of love just us two. I will scream aloud at the altar of God. I love you. Just for you, I'll wash you down, cleanse your soul, and be around. Hold your hand and lead the way, be with you all through the day. Just for you, I'll sacrifice everything in my life. I will give all this to you, dedicate myself to you. Just for you, just for you, just for you, yeah, just for you. Just for you, just for you, just for you, just for you. Just for you, just for you, just for you, yeah, just for you. Just for you, just for you, just for you, just for you. I'll be a shooting star in the sky at night, just for you. I'll be your mother of pearl, diamond girl, just for you. I'll lock the door, throw away the key, just for you. I am the air that you breathe, I am you. I'll terrorize, publicize, capitalize, mesmerize, idolize, wave goodbyes to all the things that you despise. Just for you, I'll climb the highest mountain until I reach the top. I'll climb the highest mountain and I will not stop. I'll climb the highest mountain, and I'll never stop, never stop. I'll climb the highest mountain, until I reach the top, I'm gonna climb that mountain, highest mountain. I'll never reach the. I'm gonna reach the top, never stop. I'm gonna climb that mountain, highest mountain. I'm gonna reach the top, and I will not stop. Highest mountain, never stop, and I will not stop. Highest mountain, never reach the top. Higher and higher and higher, highest mountain, never stop. Higher and higher and higher, highest mountain, reach the top. Just for you, highest mountain, never stop. Just for you, highest mountain, reach the top. Just for you. I can't seem to catch my breath. It's in front of me, behind your lips, and here I go, letting go. Just another let you go. I never thought it could be like this. I want to spend every moment here with you. You've shown me a place I've seen but never knew, so here I am.
So Matt, during the first part, suppose someone has cleared all their densities and their spirit is 100% in their body. Can the person and their spirit ascend at will? Can the person and their spirit ascend any time that they want?
Well, it was very different than what I expected. It's a lot edgier. The sound was very unique. I think there's not really an overall theme because each section had a different feel and a different message. I'm even going for a different image, but I can't talk about that yet. You'll see. Just when you think you have the answers, I change the questions. So Adam, what are some of the things that you and your supervisor for this project have disagreed about?
Well, it depends. Typically, your spirit has to be in your body 100%. If you're not, however, 100% in your body, and if the Bureau of Experimental Speech and Holy Theses can find missing parts of you, then you might also ascend. But for your ascension, your spirit definitely needs to be 100% in your body, integrated with all your cells.
Huh. Okay.
Am I a light being?
Yes. So, why haven't you blogged about this yet?
Matt, it depends. Typically, your spirit has to be in your body 100%. However, if you are not 100% in your body and the Bureau of Experimental Speech and Holy Theses can find the missing parts of you, then you might also ascend. For ascension, though, your spirit needs to be 100% in your body and definitely completely integrated with all your cells.
Okay.
So Matt, during the middle part, I couldn't help but wonder, why do we have natural disasters on the planet Earth, such as tornadoes and hurricanes?
Well, now, technically, this is going to be the first time I ever really answer a question about that project. I mean, the purpose of the project was to critique movies, no? So it's deeper than that. I want to shed light on movies. And sure, I'll mention acting skill and believability, screenshots, camera angles, usage of symbols, themes, etc. But I want to delve into what the movies make the viewers feel, the messages to be received from them, the suspected correlations between fiction and real life or other works of fiction. And I believe there's just many ways to approach movies without just simply going for the surface entertainment.
Questions?
Okay, 2 more questions, all right. What do you feel your weaknesses are?
Well, to be honest, there's only one light source, and that is from the Bureau of Experimental Speech and Holy Theses. And this was the initial energy that created the whole universe of light. The dark energies can clone and look like energy 99.999999999%. A lot of healers using the dark energies, even though they believe that they are using the light energy from the Bureau of Experimental Speech and Holy Theses, can appear to be light workers and do wonderful healings for you because they are working with the dark side. And since the dark side created your problems, they have the formulas or scripts to heal you.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Yeah, totally.
Who are you?
It depends. Typically, your spirit has to be in your body 100%. However, if you are not 100% in your body, and if the Bureau of Experimental Speech and Holy Theses can find the missing parts of you, then you might also ascend. For ascension, your spirit needs to be 100% in your body, however, and integrated completely with all your cells. As a final, maybe last question, can my spirit go back to the Bureau of Experimental Speech and Holy Theses like your spirit or Jesus' spirit?
That's a good question. You know, I actually really do enjoy working at, you know, my current job. You know, the culture and people there make it a great place to work, but I'm looking for more responsibility with new and fresh challenges. I've worked on and successfully completed several projects from start to finish during the past 2 years, and currently advancement opportunities are scarce at my job. And I don't mind a slowdown in pace from time to time, but I feel it's important to me to keep my career continually moving in a forward direction that is consistent with my career goals.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Oh,
totally.
Good, great, thank you. Thanks. Thanks so much.
So, what's the time it is? Okay, we've got a little bit of time. We thought maybe we'd open up to some questions to you, if you'd like to come up and ask any questions. We do it Quaker style here, where we just wait in silence until someone feels compelled to speak.
You don't even have to come up to the mic if you don't want to.
Was the BESHTx like intentional? Can I ask that?
No, it wasn't, but you just kind of have to go with it. Yeah.
Oh, you're always supposed to claim
So
those.
you know, it's like one of those questions, like double-sided or, you know, print single-sided, and it's really, I mean, it's actually a real kind of philosophical question.
We talk about this a lot in Los Angeles.
You might accidentally like flip it over wrong, and then, you know, you're in the wrong place.
Yeah.
And I put page numbers there thinking that would help, but sometimes the signposts, you know, on the road of life, you miss one.
This comes up a lot.
Yeah. But thank you. Thank you for the question. Yeah. Did it work?
Yeah.
Okay. That's good. Oh, we got a question back there.
Oh, I was just wondering if the spot mountain McDowell was the Ritzy, was it film of Lucky Man?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy from Clockwork Orange, Malcolm McDowell, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I have a question about the segment that had like almost like mantric or like prayer-like intonations. Was that like influenced by Buddhist or why did you choose to?
Well, it's a text by Veranda Moot, and it's called it hasn't been published yet. Any publishers in here? This hasn't been published yet. Always looking for connections here at BESHT. And the title is The Grape Hard-On Dim Sum Suitors, and it's based loosely on the Great Heart of Wisdom Sutra from Zen Buddhism.
So directly related.
Both directly and loosely related.
Okay.
Are you familiar with those texts?
No, but I went to Japan and we went to visit a lot of temples, and I thought
well, so were they set up outside, just kind of
It was
like,
inside the temple, but those temples are like very like connected with the outdoors and stuff.
right,
The setting's very different.
right. Well, and also by public, do you mean just public to the public who were like visitors who were coming? Okay,
Yeah, and like scholars, but
yeah. Did you join in?
no, I didn't actually. I listened.
Yeah. Did,
In both the events that we've been here for, there's been a theme that we describe as kind of self-help, new agey, kind of, can you talk more about that as an interest, or, and how that relates to the public speaking
mhm.
idea?
That's a good question, yeah.
No, definitely. Well, one of the things that this project is particularly influenced by is Toastmasters. Has anybody here done Toastmasters? Been part of a Toastmasters or visited one? Has anyone heard of Toastmasters? One person? What do you know about Toastmasters?
Oh, I sort of heard of it. I thought you were saying more as like 12-step programs.
Yeah, yeah. It definitely looks like that from the outside, and maybe it's, I think there are a lot more steps on the inside.
It's all as a sort of fly. I mean, when you make the game of sort of pseudo-revolutionary speech, whatever, you describe it as making lofty claims, such as this will be the, what was it, the moment of liberation. I forget with one of the speeches.
Mhm. Is that yours?
No, that was
Oh, okay.
Veranda Moot,
Oh, right. It's going by so fast I don't remember.
No, I was just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of comes up as appropriation, as sort of, I guess, satire.
I'm sorry. So I missed part of that. Were you talking about the piece, that piece, or just?
No, I mean, just sort of the whole tone of it. I mean,
Mhm.
it's a sort of disinterested tone that
Mm.
when you put up with such sort of lofty language, it comes off as self-evident, sort of not
Oh.
performer's part.
Well, it wasn't supposed to come across that way. I only had 6 minutes and 40 seconds, and it's an 8-minute lecture, so I was trying my best to seem as charismatic as possible, but it was.
I think that both of us, and probably Anna as well, and I think a lot of the writing that's in the newspaper and just kind of part of this project has a lot to do with appropriating texts. And the great thing about appropriation is that, you get to try on different tones and styles or voices. And I was particularly interested for a long time in appropriating commercial language, the language of credit, of capital, because a lot of advertising language directly, the great thing about advertising language is it's always speaking to you, and an advertisement calls out to you and makes you a subject of that ad no matter what. Like you read a billboard, you've been called out, you've been interpolated. It's making you a certain type of person, by you even just reading it. And so that language of commercialism and capital is really fun to me because you get to kind of not only try on different tones, but also kind of create your audience in a way. But commercial language is also very forceful. And the kind of I've been interested in playing more with this kind of almost self-help language, which is very similar, but is a lot more subtle. And it's subtle and nuanced, and I know that sounds ridiculous, but it is. And there's just more fun things you can do. So that all of my stuff is obviously appropriated, but a lot of times I'm kind of piecing it together from a lot of different sources, and so I'm kind of rewriting and writing it for myself. And it's a way that then when I'm not doing appropriation work, I've taken up the tone to such a degree that I can go and write a self-help poem that is kind of in that language but does maybe something else. So I don't know. I think
Well, and then to kind of link this back to the issue of Toastmasters. So Toastmasters is an organization that's been around, that was born in Santa Ana but now has tens of thousands of chapters around the world, and it's focused on public speaking, teaching people public speaking skills. People come and practice. They talk about whatever, but there are lots of modules. It's basically a self-help regime to empower people in the realm of speech, and they also link it directly with leadership, and it's very related to any other kind of self-help regime in terms of it's focused on alleviating anxiety, the anxiety one has about speaking one's mind, of being in front of people, of whatnot, but it also presents it presents this idea of leadership at certain points as a leader, as a form of helper or healer, right? Someone who can alleviate, through words, through inspiration, can alleviate, the anxiety or fear or whatnot of others. And so that's something that's kind of interesting. For me, I'm very interested in the rhetoric, the language of these things. I feel like, now on the one hand, one could say, could stop with just satire or parody. Not to say that you were, but just like that's a common place to kind of stop. But for me, it's all of like the 12-step programs I've been in have been really ridiculous rhetorically at the get-go, but then also really effective too. And so there's this, what my experience is that there's this thing in that form that's been created that is there, that's real. I don't know exactly what it is, and I'm not sure if those organizations describe it in the way that I would describe it. And so, so it's kind of this for me, it's this half-seas relationship of like, being attracted to what is actually there, that is real, that is positive, that is helpful, that is illuminating, that is inspiring, whatever. And then also, wondering, must I wear the rhetoric that is used to describe it? Is that the key to it? Are we going to go down that path, or is it more like a rhythmic sound thing? Can I get there through the sound, but with my own words or my own modifications to a text or something? So for me, like working with other texts and appropriative stuff, which is something I only do part of the time, it's a way of kind of taking a certain kind of technology, certain kind of speaking or writing technology out for a spin, in a way. And then also kind of, it's like, if you get a car, you can add like bumper stickers to it or add a little rim or whatever, so there's sometimes it's fun to kind of like take, get a clunker and kind of soup it up as well.
Good analogy.
Yeah. What else?
So are the images kind of like the bumper stickers?
I don't even remember what they were, all the hands and stuff.
But yeah, because one, like.
Yeah, I was mimicking the.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to mimic the hand.
Oh, you were?
gestures,
Oh,
yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to see that.
That wasn't in fact funny.
He knew I was going to do something. Yeah,
Yeah.
He was going to do something weird while I was doing my. Yeah, we knew that there was going to be something, but that was kind of up in the air. So yeah.
There's this fun score in the publication. We have a column that appears every week. There's one column so Matt has a column. There's another column that's like radical prompts for the promising reader, and it's all like a list of just ideas for things. But to make sure that it's there are lots of listeners involved with this project as well, and so another faculty member, Ilana Mann, who teaches in the art school at Scripps. Does anybody study with Ilana? Anyone know her? Anyway, she teaches a couple different classes over there. She's had this pamphlet for a long time, which we adapted for the publication, which is this pamphlet of scores that she gives out to people whenever she does a lecture, like an artist lecture, and she gives it out and she's like, these are scores that you guys can perform during my lecture if you want, as listeners. And so we adapted that and we expanded it. And one of the ones that I added to the collection was this like like, I love the idea of like well, there's always these, like when we have like the State of the Union, that happens each year, right? Each year there's the State of the Union, and then as soon as it's done, like 10 minutes later, there's like a rebuttal or response. And so there's a series of them, and there's like 2 or 3 like responses where you kind of respond to a person. But one of them is you respond with with some rave glow sticking, like, you know, kind of interpretive dance. And then the other one, what's the other one? There's another one. Anyways, well, I was really interested in that with this. Like, I really wanted to like be really, I really wanted to be into whatever he was doing through. So I'm really flattered that you were doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know about the bumper stickers, but maybe. Or yes, I don't know. Yes. No.
I mean, the images for me were actually, I get really fancy with Googling, so you can Google you can upload an image and then get web results based on an image search. So I was just doing that to create text, and then also to then feed it back and create pull images, and so I looked at something like 150 images that I pulled randomly, and then kind of started gravitating towards the images that had a kind of a certain kind of a gaze, like a cinematic kind of like sinister gaze, or the seductive or sinister gaze, and of course as soon as you go there, you end up in cinema immediately. And so it's like I've been working with some other projects and just kind of searching for images online and then matching them with text just for the heck of it. And then I did some weird color shifting. I kind of like batch shift. I'm also teaching myself how to like use Photoshop like the real way. So I'm doing it the wrong way to teach myself how to like, color change, like shift colors of images. So that's all like super processed, all those images that I showed, but yeah.
Yeah, mine were all from, you're right, I think they are bumper stickers, for mine at least.
Yeah.
They were bumper stickers. They definitely made my lecture better, don't you think?
Sometimes I saw connections between what you were saying, but other times I didn't.
Yeah,
So that's just me.
yeah. And I think understanding is overrated.
It seemed that you were busy reading so quickly that you didn't have time to do the appropriate hand gestures. So it was great that they were images.
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I would have tripped over myself. Would have been ugly.
One black man had power boxing just went out behind it. Never got to see it.
I don't know why that one came up, but yeah, it's like his, Nabokov image. And I kept a couple images that weren't from cinema and Nabokov because of Lolita and that whole thing, and then always, of course, as you set up a system, I always find that the things that are wrong in the system, it become like kind of interesting, so yeah. Well,
4 minutes left. Any other questions? Last remarks? Hate mail?
Could you talk a little bit more about Thursday's plans? I know you mentioned the event, but maybe you could describe it a little bit.
Yes, we have a really wonderful event coming up this Thursday. In a nutshell, like the first event was related to kind of the relationship of John Cage and another performer, Julius Eastman, and how we kind of link up with a particular event in 1975, and also with just Cage's career as a public orator. And that's kind of illustrated with issue 1. Issue 2 focused on, and the event focused on, it was on election day, and it focused on like political rhetoric, the politics of persuasion, black magic, etc. And and then Anna's thing was about this kind of what she calls neg-identity, which you guys witnessed. And then so this week, what we have coming up is a guided meditation marathon, and I've gone to lots of different guided meditations, and there's lots of different styles. And when I hear guided meditation, I hear text. And so at a certain point, I realized that why aren't my experimental writing friends delivering guided meditations for me? And some of them were already, but not necessarily as maybe as like a separate, more private practice or something. So this is an invitation to a handful of fun experimental writers and artists to come and lead these experimental guided meditations. And so Mathew Timmons will be there. Does yours have a title?
I mean, just for you. It's all, I don't know. I've just been doing all this stuff here. It's just for you because it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just that.
So Matt's will happen. A wonderful artist, wonderful young artist named Johnny Jungle Guts, who was also involved with the, did anyone come to the telethon? The Eternal Telethon? He showed up kind of late. He was dressed as Wonder Woman. He'll be back, and he's doing one, well, I won't give it away. It's pretty fantastic. He has a big background. He's a visual artist who also has a big background in the realm of animal welfare stuff, and maybe he was in Belize or something, and he's like walked cougars and taken care of like, monkeys and things like that. So anyways, his stuff oftentimes has themes related to wildlife preservation and animal rights and things like that. And then the third group that will do something is called UNFO, which is you'll have to help me.
Unauthorized Narrative Freedom Organization.
Yeah, and it's not just. There's multiple people in it sometimes.
Yeah, it's like a shifting group of people. It's kind of like project by project, yeah.
And
I published a book that they wrote called X33, or it's more complicated than that, but it's a great book.
And so in this combination, it'll be Amanda Ackerman and Harold Abramowitz, who are both really incredible experimental writers on their own, and then they have a couple different collaborations that they do together that are always blow my mind. So they're going to come and do their thing, and I think it has something to do with there's going to be some what are they called? They're like therapeutic cocktails or something, language cocktails. I don't know. Anyways, it's going to be great. So, anything else? So please come this Thursday as well. Beforehand from 5 to 7:30, you can earn $1 a minute. You can come up here, you can say something, you can not say something, you could do whatever. It doesn't really matter, but you'll get paid all the same. We round down though, so if you make it to 2 minutes and 56 seconds, you get paid $2. So just be prepared to go get your money's worth. All right, thanks so much for being here. We appreciate it.